Mark Stein had a great article in the New York Times about Kobe Bryant the other day. In the piece, Mark talks about how then Lakers general manager Jerry West, well, you know, we all know the story, right? He fell in love with Kobe after this outstanding pre-draft workout.
Right.
But here's the part of the story nobody knew. Talks about Tracy McGrady's workout a year later and saying that Jerry was just as dazzled then and went into all sorts of, you know, acrobatics to try to acquire the draft pick that would let him take T-Mac and pair him with Kobe and Shaq. Imagine this. This is a quote from Del Harris, the New York Times. Tracy McGrady came in the next year with a more mature body than Kobe and worked out so well that Jerry tooled around with the idea that maybe we should just go ahead and make a deal for whatever it took to get this guy. The idea is, of course, it would be a step back in the short term, but to have two guys like that on the same team. Did you know about this?
I heard about it.
Excuse me.
I heard about it a while back, but listen, man, you know how much more of a complete player from the maturity, from the professionalism I could have gained with playing with these two guys for my career, the turn that it could have took. Like, man, I mean, we're talking about two of the greatest, one of the most dominant, and arguably one of the best to ever lace up in Kobe. And to team up with these two guys, what that could have done for me personally, oh my gosh, man.
That's interesting because we're sitting here thinking about the points that would have been scored on the court and the threat, but you're talking about your development.
I'm talking about my development, and my career took a turn when I went to Orlando because I had to become a scorer because I didn't have Grant Hill. I was always the type of player like a Scottie Pippen type. So to share the ball, defend the best player. That's what I did in my 3 years in Toronto. I would have been that playing alongside Kobe Bryant.
Sure? Are you sure?
Yes.
Because we saw eventually there was not enough basketball for Kobe and Shaq.
Well, I think too is you never know how that stuff works because I go back to our big three time, and every player in that group of three would have to sacrifice something. You just have to. You have to pick it up in other areas. That's what people don't talk about. See, when you're just a star, right, and he can tell you this, you can take a couple possessions you don't get back on D.
Yeah.
You can have a couple of possessions that you don't block out. You have a couple of possessions where you take some bad shots. When it's three of you, you can't have that.
You got to be
efficient. Have to give that up. You have to get back on defense. You have to block out. Every single guy, you have to do the team role thing.
You have to take efficient shots.
And if you want to win, which I think he was all about that, I think he would have did it, and those guys did do it. It just at the end of it, their relationship fractured at the end. But how many titles did they win before that?
Absolutely, and certainly there's some personality element too. Your personality and Kobe were friends. I mean, you guys were friends even though you didn't end up playing together. I feel like if you had been in the same locker room, you would have been boys. Although you did just mention take efficient shots. That wasn't Kobe's forte.
I mean myself.
Okay.
But they all would have been better shots because of who do you double? So every shot they would have gotten, Kobe wouldn't have had to take bad shots on that team. They would have just shared the ball, and whoever was open and rolling that night, that's who was open and rolling that night.
Why they had to bring that? I don't.
That's all right, Matt. You still a Hall of Famer.
But champion going along with that.
You would have probably got. How many did they end up winning? How many?
3.
You won 3 together, and then you won 5 overall.
Maybe 6 or 7, and never would have broke up.
That's what you on right now, Pierce.
David might not be with us next segment.
Oh man, I just got voted out. I would have loved to watch it. I'll tell you that. That would have been. You talking about that would have been like
Someone's
Jordan.
Someone's gonna go back and just put it all in the video game, enter it in, we can play it
with
there.
a Shaq.
Ooh, would have been so good.